If you have a son or daughter with ADHD, you might have noticed that they tend to think quite negatively, both about themselves and about the world around them. This is typical for the ADHD brain, but there's a simple way to flip their script and start helping them to see themselves and the world in a much more positive light. I'm Annie Adjen. I'm a certified ADHD coach. I help high schoolers, college students, and parents manage ADHD and ultimately leverage its gifts. So here's what I want to share with you. Research shows there's an easy and effective way to help your teens start making positive thinking their new default mode in the brain. The key lies in a technique from CBT, which stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. It's called reframing, and all you have to do is use this phrase, which starts with two words, at least. Say at least, and then just provide a slightly positive spin on the current situation. This one sentence tool that again starts out with the two words at least is the catalyst for interrupting the negativity and shifting their perspective ever so slightly, which then will gradually make the negative scales fall from their eyes. For example, if your teen feels overwhelmed in, say, geometry class, they might say to themselves, well, at least if I do poorly on this test, I can do corrections. If they are grumpy about the 6:30 a.m. wake-up call every morning on a school day, you could say, well, at least this Saturday, you can sleep until noon. Here's another example. Teen forgets to pack sunblock, say water bottle, in their sports duffel. At least coach usually brings some extra. At least there's a 7-Eleven right around the corner from the soccer field. At least you didn't forget your cleats. You get the idea. So part of the reason that this at least tool works is because it requires much less effort than, say, trying to pull a 180-degree turnaround or thinking really hard in attempts to reconstruct the current situation, the whole scene. The at least tool kind of meets them where they're at, validates their current feelings, even negative ones, and then gently suggests a subtle silver lining. So instead of expecting your teen to imagine a sunny day in the middle of their emotional downpour, it's more like extending them an umbrella to help cope with their dreariness. And for that reason, it's a tool that's more likely to be used by you and your teen because it isn't so demanding on their brain. By starting with a small, manageable, positive thought, you're gradually creating a new neural pathway in the brain. Every time you say, well, at least, and put a positive spin on the current situation, the rainbow starts to appear with a slight glimmer of hope. And that's why I call this shift the rainbow connection. It's a slightly more positive thought pattern that's getting built out in the brain every time the rainbow connection happens. With just a little repetition, the brain is creating a new setting. And every time the neurons fire in that direction, the direction of the rainbow, the stronger that connection or inclination toward the positive becomes. By using this tool, the rainbows will be forecasted more often than the showers of negativity in your teenager's state of mind. Parents tell me that they start to hear at home their kids say things like, even though it's hard to find friends at school, at least I get to play lacrosse every day after school with my best friend. Or, well, at least I had my license, registration, and proof of insurance when I got pulled over. Every situation, even the most difficult of ADHD situations, always have a rainbow. Okay, so now, how to encourage this practice with your teen? The answer is simple. Start with yourself. Model this at least technique in your own daily life. Say it out loud. Whether you're stuck in traffic or dealing with a tough day at work, think out loud and speak out loud. For instance, oh boy, we're stuck in traffic. Well, at least there's extra time for homework in the car, maybe even a nap. Or, oh, I'm so tired tonight, I just can't cook. At least there's Costco for an inexpensive rotisserie chicken. Just by demonstrating the at least phrase, you're gonna show your kiddo how it's done, how to say it, how to look for the silver lining, and it will become a normal part of your family dialogue. You're modeling the behavior you want to see in your kid. Teens with ADHD don't spontaneously pick up new habits. They need to see them modeled and practiced consistently. So if you start using at least regularly, your kiddo will absorb it and start to adopt the habit too. So make it a common practice for yourself and your family. And remember, adolescents with ADHD take longer to catch on, longer to form good habits, and they require far more repetitions. They also require a lot more encouragement and positive reinforcement. Look for those rainbows in everything, and your kids will learn to as well. Let's quickly explore some of the scientific explanation for why our kids often fall into negative thinking. All brains are hardwired to look for threats, and they're programmed to keep the body safe. However, we no longer live in the Paleolithic era. We now live in the technological era. But ADHD brains didn't get that memo. They didn't get the memo that there are no longer fatal threats lurking around every corner. Their amygdala and emotional centers are kind of on hyper alert all the time and generally a little too overly sensitive. Also, negative thoughts require no effort in the brain, while positive thoughts do require more fuel and more energy. In other words, maintaining positivity comes at a bit of a price. That is, until positive thinking becomes the more dominant pathway in the brain, and you'll get there. We also know that the ADHD brain has more resistance to expending energy on anything it's not deeply interested in. So you can see how the ADHD brain gets a double whammy here. The teen ADHD brain is more prone to overestimating how bad things are and less likely to sign up for a brain workout even if they know it's good for them. They're more likely to catastrophize a situation and far less likely to look for a silver lining in that same situation. So add to this the troubling statistic that a good 40 to 60% of teens with ADHD will also experience some oppositional defiance. That implies still more irritability, negativity, arguments, darker moods, and even angry outbursts. Now you can appreciate the importance of positive tools like At Least. Even if your teen rolls their eyes at your positive spinning, they're still picking up on it. ADHD often comes with a lot of negative self-talk and rejection sensitivity. So your positive modeling not only teaches them skills, but it's also a lifeline to them. Kids with ADHD need you to help them build their resilience and help them practice and maintain a more positive outlook. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and share it with another parent who could also benefit from it. Go ahead and visit my website, annieagin.com. There's tons of free parenting and ADHD resources right there for you. You can also get in contact with me there. I'm Annie Agin, and I'm wishing you all A's in your every endeavor.